Right.
Nice.
There's an agenda there if you'd like to.
All right, with that. I would like to call this meeting of the town board of the town of Northeast to order. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 7 o'clock. I would like to ask you all to join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tilly, do you please conduct a roll call
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
here?
Councilwoman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fideli,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler. Councilman Mayville.
Here. Okay. And the agenda has been posted. I would like to ask for a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Not adding anything to the agenda, but our attorney has some personal business that he needs to get back to Rhinebeck for. So I have said that we would move some things up we'll rearrange some things on the agenda. I'm not adding anything to the agenda. At this point, I would like to ask for public comment on agenda items only. Does anybody? Yes, now would be a good time.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm John King. I'm an attorney and I have put forward amendments for Country Inn in town Northeast. And hopefully we'll have that voted upon tonight. But just wanted to share some thoughts, just to be on your minds as you guys are considering what's at stake. First off, I fully respect that your obligation isn't to me. It's to the town. It must be, and it should be to the town and to the community and to the people and the economic future of the town. As you know, I'm here tonight with a very simple ask. I'm requesting that you vote now and not delay until the later zoning evaluation for the residential and agricultural properties, but vote now to approve the amendments that we've submitted for the Country Inn allowance and the revisions to it. Our request is straightforward: to permit new construction of on the properties and not just reimagining and reclaiming existing structures on those properties. Obviously, when this happens, it has to be within the scale of what's appropriate for the property and maintain the aesthetic nature of what neighboring properties are. And all of that's considered in the existing Country Inn language and is obviously maintained in what we are putting forward with the adjustments to that language. And obviously that all needs to coincide with agricultural property. And in our case, it certainly does, because you know we're planning to build a vineyard and a winery. But you know, broader, beyond just our property, it must be, you know, aligned to agricultural property, not just our plans. And again, this is our plan isn't about anything unrelated to agriculture. This is a complementary vineyard, a complementary farm operation, and we're just asking for, you know, additional revenue streams for us and for other farmers in the area to be considered, and for that to be part of how farmers operate in the town of Northeast, so that they're able to sustain their business and be able to stay afloat. And for us, and I've shared this before, so it's a consistent theme that I'm talking about. If it gets delayed and we can't do this now, I have to pull the plug. Like it goes away because I can't wait for a lengthy process for, council meetings and everything with the longer process. We pull the plug. And so again, why I'm asking for you to evaluate it now and take a look at it. And just a couple other thoughts. I want to talk a little bit about the comprehensive town plan. And I've done extensive research on this because when I first was looking at this idea, this concept, I looked at the comprehensive town plan and was like, this is terrific. Great, everything aligns with what we're trying to do. But what I've been looking at recently is what's the relationship of the comprehensive town plan to you all, to the town board, and what's that? How are those two supposed to work together? And what I basically found is what I'm sure every one of you guys already know, but again, it was what I was trying to understand is that the comprehensive town plan is meant to serve as the official policy guide for the town board. It's meant to act as the roadmap representing the voice and the vision of the town. And, specifically, as I look into the town plan, what's in there? What's, what was recognized as what you were, the community was looking to do. And specifically, it mentions farm diversification, agritourism, weddings, accommodations, exactly what we're asking for. Nothing that's even, a hint outside of what's specifically recognized in the town plan. And then again, I'm not expecting that every single person in town is going to be like, oh my gosh, you should do that. That's great. I mean, there's obviously going to be, folks that don't aren't particularly, specifically aligned with what we're looking to do. But again, looking at what went into getting the comprehensive town plan approved, surveys, focus groups, public workshops, public hearings, being voted on, being approved, being published. So it obviously is a representation of what the community is looking to do. And again, as specifically mentioned, wineries, vineyards, accommodations, and events. So exactly what we're looking to do. So again, why now, not later? And this, again, it's the same thing I keep saying is, if it gets folded into the broader zoning, I'm not able to wait. And so therefore, it just goes away, which obviously I'm incredibly sad about and don't want to happen because I've chosen to be here on purpose and specifically want this to happen here. So obviously very emotional and sad about that. But, in addition to that, I'm looking to invest significantly in the town. By us building a winery and a vineyard, we're investing significantly in the town. And it's real dollars. It's real dollars that equate to real jobs. So it's carpenters, it's roofers, it's plumbers, it's electricians, it's farmers, it's people to set up the vineyard and plant the vineyard and maintain the vineyard. And then after it's built, it's 30 jobs to 50 jobs for the town because we're going to need to operate the winery, operate the business, operate the vineyard. And so it's real, and those are real jobs that go away. And so therefore, I mean, there may be a lot of people lined up to come in and bring revenue into the town. I don't know, but it definitely equates to something real for the economics of the town. And, it's certainly part of what we're looking to do and why it's important to do it now, because if we don't, that goes away too. And so the couple other things that I just wanted to touch on. What we're asking for is not an overhaul of the zoning. It's not a brand new amendment. I'm literally asking you to take a look at the existing country inn amendment. Already exists. It's already on your books. It's already approved. Anyone can go and build a 24 room country inn right now, who's in the town. It can happen. And I don't have any structures on my property, so there's nothing for me to convert. So all I'm essentially asking is that you allow new buildings to be built on properties as well. And again, within the aesthetic of what's appropriate for agricultural property, we're looking to do it and tuck the accommodations into the trees and into the hills so that it's not an eyesore and it doesn't, it's not obstructive. And we've carefully crafted the language so that anyone else who tries to come in and do this isn't able to just build a Holiday Inn on Route 22. It's specific so that it's tied to agriculture and that it's within the existing language of what's already there in place for sound, light, parking, everything else that goes along with it, so that it's not, again, obtrusive. So, last thing I'll say before I close is, have heard some comments that, as this has been discussed and is being evaluated, and again, just said it, noise, lighting, parking, it's already in the country inn language. We haven't changed any of that. It's there. So all of those protections are still in place. The scale, we're not looking to do something huge. It's 24 rooms. That's what the country inn accommodations allows for now. That's what we're asking in the future. Impact on the land, buffers are in place for sound and for the neighbors and to protect the neighbors. And the scope of the request, again, just looking to adjust what's already in place. Some other comments that I've heard is, well, Old Route 22, which we're obviously adding to add to that. It's traffic and it's going to be a arterial highway, and what are we going to do with that? There's two properties that qualify on Old Route 22. I'm at one end, and there's another property that's 20+ acres on the far end, and both are about 50 feet away from 44. So again, it's not traffic that's traversing Old Route 22. Plus, as a arterial highway, I looked up what the definition of that meant, so I didn't know. It's a thoroughfare, it's a main thoroughfare. So again, it's already set up to accommodate. But the point I want to make here is I'm already permitted under New York ag and market law to build a winery. I can go build a winery and plant grapes, plant a vineyard. And I wouldn't be standing here wasting your time if that was all we were looking to do. I can go do it. It's already approved. And, and I can build that on our property. And so therefore, we're going to build a winery that certainly is going to accommodate more than 24 people. And that's, so as we're looking to put in accommodations, certainly already going to be far more traffic than 24 cars for people that are staying in those accommodations. So it's not like we're putting an undue burden on the road and how's it going to handle traffic. That's already, accounted for in the winery. That's already happening. And this is just 24 people that happen to be staying over. So it's certainly not going to be abusive there. Heard your comment? Yeah.
If I could just say, we have generally a 5-minute limit on remarks. Because you have an item on the agenda, I've let you go substantially over. If you could
Yeah, I'll wrap it up.
wrap it up,
So
that'd be great.
last thing I'll say then is, there's no risk to the town. This is. If you vote on this and vote to say yes, it's not done. I can't just go and do this on the property. All that happens is it moves to the planning board. And now the planning board looks at our site plan. They look at what we're trying to do. They evaluate the traffic, they evaluate the sound, they evaluate everything that we're trying to do to get the special use permit. So this isn't carte blanche that once you guys say yes, that anyone can go do anything. Absolutely not. It still needs to go in front of the town and in front of the planning board to actually be able to do something on my property. And then the last thing I'll say is there was an article last week in the Millerton News, and I don't know if you all saw that, but there have been some comments that have come in based on that article. And of the handful of commenting, 15-20 comments have come in, not a single one of those comments has been negative. Every single, if we had more time, I'd read some to you, but they're all very positive and supportive of what we're trying to do. So if that's a reflection of what the community is looking for and whether or not there's an appetite for this in the community, it's certainly reflected in the feedback that's already come in from something that was put out to the public there and saying, yeah, why wouldn't we do this? So I appreciate your time. Hopefully you will consider it with a open mind and objectively. And all I ask is that we hopefully can make this taken care of now and not delay, because I don't want to walk away from this project. And hopefully the town doesn't want me to walk away from this project and what the opportunity it creates here.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on agenda items only? I don't think so. Okay, I'm looking at the clock because we have a public hearing scheduled for 7:30. The next item on the agenda is a resolution of approval of contract with PCA for computer and IT related services for the town of Northeast. I'm putting this up on the agenda because later on we are going to be approving some expenditures. And we need to have approved a contract with PCA before we can approve a bill for PCA. This is the company which we have talked about previously. We've had a representative of PCA and come and speak before the town board several meetings ago. A subcommittee of, or a task force really of the town, including Meg Winkler and Chris Mayville and Tilly Strauss, did a lot of work on talking to interested IT services. We have spent a lot of time on this, and the recommendation is to move forward with PCA. They are ready to get to work. And we have, Warren has created an addendum to their contract. Their contract was, couldn't really be changed, but we were able to add an addendum, which I believe provides for us being able to terminate the contract if we need to, before, I think after 6 months or a year. In any event, it provides that
90
opportunity.
days. You can terminate on 90 days notice.
Yeah, so
But, yeah.
with that, we have a resolution. Authorizing me to execute the master services agreement with Professional Computer Associates. From Information Technology Services. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone have anything you want to say more about this?
Excited.
If not, Tilly, could you conduct a roll call, please?
Yes, Supervisor Kennan,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Aye. Councilwoman Winkler.
Okay, now moving on down to supervisor's report. I have a number of comments, starting with almost happy Halloween, welcome to fall, hoping for better colors than we have so far, but I think they're gonna get there. A number of items that I wanted to mention. First of all, Councilwoman Winkler and I started the morning in Kingston at a program produced by the Association of Towns. It was a very concentrated and fast-moving program. It covered 4 different areas over the course of a morning. The first was what planning and zoning officials need to know about the open meetings law and FOIL. The second was New York's new freshwater regulations, wetlands and wetlands of unusual importance. The third was agritourism and local land use. And the fourth was, home rule meets the affordable housing rule, navigating New York funding incentives through strategic zoning. It was a really fascinating and informative 4 hours. Very, very helpful. It was probably one of the best programs that I've ever gone to, the Association of Towns. It went just right into those topics like a fire hose. And there are others, that that board members can go to. They are, they produce different things. There are a lot of webinars on different topics. They're worth checking out in many instances. A couple of other items. The Dutchess County Transportation Council, which is a entity that does basically mostly long-range planning of transportation issues in the county. They have scheduled a listening session at the library annex on October 22nd at 3 p.m. This is an opportunity for people who have concerns about transportation issues particularly in our town. Particularly bus services, transportation services for people without transportation or who are handicapped in some way or who don't have those abilities. Anybody who's interested should check it out, the library annex on the 22nd at 3 o'clock. Another item, the county has notified us about the ability to participate in circulating bins for used clothing and shoes. And this is through the HelpSee. It's the HelpSee program. I have passed out some flyers that were passed around. I think there's some more maybe at the end of the table. The town is going to participate in this program. The Climate Smart Communities Task Force is going to participate in this. Meg has indicated an interest in this as well. And so I think we're going to get to work. One of the questions that we have to figure out is where would these bins go? We haven't got that figured out tonight, but it is something we'll be looking for suggestions, ideas on that. There's going to be a mental health presentation and meeting in Amenia. The Dutchess County Department of Mental Health will be hosting a mental health town hall at Amenia's Town Hall at 5:30 p.m. on October 15th. Everyone is welcome to hear about the resources that are available in our county to help our residents with mental health issues. There is going to be a repair cafe on October 25th at the library annex, an opportunity to bring things that need fairly simple repair to a place where people who know how to fix things are donating their time and offering to help people fix things. So it could be something like a toaster or, something relatively straightforward. I don't think you don't want to bring in your, latest laptop and troubleshoot that. But we'll be posting more information about that. I'm letting the board and the community know we've had the resignation of Patty Lynch Van de Bogart from the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective December 31 of this year. So there will be down the road an opening on the ZBA. We will post the vacancy in due course and welcome letters of interest. Good news, Boston Corners Road is open. The culvert that was being repaired has been fixed and the road is open as of today. As I think I've mentioned before, Rudd Pond Road at some point next year will close right at that same area with the intersection of K Road, Boston Corners Road, and Rudd Pond Road for a bridge repair, and it will be closed for for probably a few months. That's going to be unpleasant. And there is a burn ban in effect in the county until October 15th. Okay, I'm just being aware of the fact that we have a public hearing starting. So. Okay, I think we can do the financials. There, I have a budget adjustment number 7 of 2025. An A fund expense increase of $5,372 less an expense decrease of $5,372 for a net of 0. Could I ask for a motion to approve the budget increase?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I have a special abstract dated September 22nd, 2025, totaling $14,067.61, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,626.61. B fund, $120. Highway fund, DB, $10,321. Could I ask for a motion to accept the special abstract?
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The date today is the 9th, right? You go, Ralph. I have an abstract dated October 9th, 2025, totaling $104,761.12, broken down as follows. A fund, $62,297.61. B fund, $3,700.80. DB fund, $29,705.98. Water District SW1, $7,539.75. TNA2 escrow, $1,240. Payroll TNA, $276.98. I ask for a motion to approve the abstract.
So moved.
Second.
Ralph, seconded by Meg. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 10, 9, 25. Right. Voucher committee for November will be Ralph Fideli and Meg Winkler. Just gonna note that that will be Ralph Fideli's last go round as on voucher duty.
Yes.
I know it's gonna be a celebratory event. And you have presented the town with Tilly with wait a minute, I'm jumping
Yeah,
ahead.
you are.
I'm jumping ahead.
I am.
All right. I think we can
Go to the,
go to the public hearing.
okay.
Okay. This is a public hearing on the Water District Benefit Assessment Roll. The Water District Benefit Assessment Roll is the list, and I look to our assessor to keep me on the straight and narrow here, but is the list of properties which are connected to the village's water department via a water district in the town. And this is a hearing on that role. And following the hearing, we will have a motion to accept that assessment role. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the hearing is open on the water district assessment role. Is there anyone who would like to say anything about the water district assessment role? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The hearing is closed, and with that, I would entertain a motion to accept water district benefit assessment role.
So moved.
Second.
All right,
I need to do roll call.
and the roll call will be fine.
Mhm. Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler. Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Going back now to our agenda. Department committee reports. Bob, I think you have some or some,
We have the 2026 material bid results.
right. And you've distributed those to the town. I know that,
You have got.
yeah, the board members all have copies of those. Can you give us just a comment about how those bids went? Did you get?
We had a couple extra bidders this year, which was good. And we have bids on everything that the highway department needs and the town needs.
Mhm.
Our recommendations are in bold print. There were small increases pretty much across the board.
Okay, nothing that came as a shock or surprise.
No big surprises.
Alright. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept the bids that the town has received for the materials that Bob is needing for the highway?
So moved.
And second.
This is on that motion to accept those bids. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna do a roll call.
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler. Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Assessor. Anything else?
No.
Nope. Okay. Thank you. Town clerk, you've provided us with reports from the planning department, zoning department, the building department.
Yes.
Um,
And I've given the minutes from the last meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't get those out to you sooner. We have received 2 complaints from Dave Decker about the gun club, one Sunday afternoon, October 5th. Well, 8:45 PM, and the other one was a midday Tuesday shooting that went on October 7th. And then I also wanted to say that on October 31st, we're gonna participate, Marcy and I, the town, with the village for their trunk or treat program and have a car. And we've got, in addition to candy, we're gonna be handing out how to take care of your dog, and more details about licensing and numbers like that, so.
where is that gonna be?
Right on Railroad Plaza, you park with your trunk open to the rail trail, give out candy and supposedly a lot.
It's really taken off in
Yeah.
a lot of communities, and
Mhm.
it's a great way for kids to get dressed up in their costumes. To go trick or treating, but not have to go down, a dark street, knock on
Yeah.
houses. This is, everybody who's there has candy.
Yeah,
And so you go from car to car, and some people do amazing things with the trunk of their.
Yes, we're
cars
gonna
to make them
decorate it.
Really scary.
it's from
But
5 to 7,
okay, on the
Yeah.
31st,
on Friday the 31st, yeah.
okay.
And the Irondale Schoolhouse is
Yes.
going to be serving chili and hot dogs free.
And last year you served over 200 hot dogs, so, and that wasn't like to everybody, so.
And a big pot of chili.
So, yes.
Okay, town, just moving along, town board, now this is important.
Yep.
Town board committee, Meg, do you have a quick report on
Um,
housing?
on the +1 ADU program, we've had a few residents inquire, and one person is actively adding hopefully an ADU. So they're working with our building department and Hudson River Housing to work on the application, so I'm hoping that's gonna be successful for them. And we haven't had our public meeting on that yet, but at least this is a great start. And then it looks like on the pro housing, which you'll probably speak more to, at some point, we got in right under the, now it's a requirement for many, to apply for many grants versus a bonus to apply. So we got in right at a good time.
Well, thank you for your help with, everyone's help on getting that in. On buildings and grounds, I'm just gonna say very quickly that, Councilwoman Winkler and I met with an engineer, an engineer from Glan, Lan. Who have worked with us before on the HVAC components of our new town hall building. And they are going to be coming back to us with a proposal to move forward on that. I'm really excited about moving forward on that. And I'm sure we'll have something to report at the next board meeting. We don't have that yet. And I don't know if there's anything, I don't think the personnel committee has anything at this point. Or the cemetery committee. There's going to be a,
On the 25th of October, weather permitting, we're gonna be raising a few smaller stones. So this goes from 10 o'clock in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, all volunteer work. Hopefully the weather will cooperate.
okay. Number 7 on the agenda, the presentation of the Town of Northeast tentative 2026 budget and setting a time for a public hearing on November 13th. The tentative budget has been presented to the clerk, was presented to the clerk on the last day of September. If my memory serves me right, pursuant to state law. And at this point, it becomes a public document. And we are scheduling, and no more changes can be made in the budget until we have the public hearing. So that the document, the budget that you will see is the budget that people will be commenting on at the public hearing. The budget committee, which is Councilwoman Lana Morrison and myself, met individually with most of the rest of the board, with various department heads, and have worked as hard as we could to produce a budget that would come in under the cap. That's something that the town has not been able to do in a while. If we did not have the increase which we face for EMS services from what was NDP and which is now Empress, the town actually would have come in under the cap this year. And that, represents, a lot of work and a lot of looking and trying to see what we can do to be very, very careful with taxpayer funds. We will be having discussions with Empress about ways in which we can try and lower the cost of the EMS services. But right now they are honoring the existing NDP contract, which does provide for an approximately 35% increase in their cost to the town for next year. I think everybody can understand when you have something that already represents 15% of the town's budget and you increase it by 35%, the idea of trying to come in under 2% is just not something that is even realistic. But there are a lot of things up in the air about EMS services. I was at a meeting of the Supervisors and Mayors Association 2 nights ago. where that was the only topic of conversation. And there was much discussion about the potential for the county to play a much larger role in providing EMS services, which would be enormously important to us. And I'll talk more about that, I'm sure, at a future meeting. You'd probably be talking about it at every meeting that we have going forward. In any event, the budget is presented. I think we need a motion to accept a tentative budget and make it public and set the date for the public hearing. The date for the public hearing will be November 13th, which is our next regular meeting. I would suggest that we set it for 7:30 PM. And with that, I would like to ask for a motion to accept the tentative budget and to set the time for the public hearing on November 13th at 7:30 PM.
So moved.
Second,
Do we need a roll call? I think we don't need a roll call, okay. All in favor?
aye,
Okay. All right, thank you for that. I would like now to move to item 12 on the agenda. This is the item that Mr. King was speaking about earlier. We at our last meeting, we discussed this as we have discussed it at previous meetings. And we, as most of you know, did not take any action on this at that time. We talked about reasons that we had, the concerns that we had, we shared them. We have had the opportunity since then to have many more conversations and to reach out to people with knowledge in this area. We've certainly also been available to anybody from the community who wanted to provide us with input on this. It was brought to our attention that we had not made a decision on anything at the last time. And so I asked Warren to prepare a resolution which reflected the conversation the last time, so that we would have a resolution in front of us to act on, to approve or disapprove. The resolution is a resolution continuing the application and doing so without prejudice to the town board's future ability to bring it up. I have spent a lot of time thinking about it. I've also took a phone call with Mr. King and have talked to members of the board. My concerns are, there are several of them. One of them certainly revolves around the fact that while Old Route 22 is near an arterial road, it is not an arterial road, and the existing zoning provides that it should be. And it's not a road that is built to accommodate a great deal of traffic. It is also something that we talked about last time, was our concern about this in its relationship to agriculture and ag and markets. And at the meeting that Meg and I went to this morning, which really clarified a lot about this, it was made clear that, because they talked about agribusiness, starting with the roadside stand selling corn and tomatoes, products from the farm, 100% from the farm, completely related to supporting that activity, all the way up to wineries and wedding venues and event space. It says that, receptions, parties, and special events can be held under certain conditions. directly related to the sale and promotion of the beverage crop produced at the farm, and incidental and subordinate to the retail sale of the beverage at the site. And I asked this morning, what is incidental and subordinate? Incidental and subordinate generally means gross annual receipts from the facility rental, vendor fees, admission fees, sale of non-agricultural products, et cetera, at such location does not exceed 30% of the total gross sales from retail sale of the crops and the produce on the property. That's a pretty high bar. That means that 70% of the income for the property has to come from, in this particular instance that Mr. King was talking about, from the sale either of grapes or wine, or in the case of potentially other venues that could be on other places, from the sale of agricultural products. Lastly, we talked a lot about spot zoning being when a zoning change is taking place specifically to help one particular project. And when I've gone through this, everything we've been hearing about is about one particular project. So it makes it more difficult for us to, or at least for me, to see this as part of a area-wide legislative change. We are going to be taking this up really very soon, looking at all the residential and agricultural portions of the town. We're not turning this down forever. We're just saying we need to find a way to make sure that we know what we're doing when we permit things, which we're not sure that how well this, this in this particular instance, this particular project would be able to fit in under the ag and markets criteria. So just want to open it up to the board for others who have thoughts about this.
Chris, is there a PowerPoint available from AOT and?
Yeah, be happy to get it to you.
I mean, this is an extension of what the town has been working on many years. I was definitely, as a resident, part of the comprehensive plan meetings and all those things, so people have just been working so hard over these years to first now our zoning review of our commercial district, and that's taken years. I have a particular interest in residential, for bringing more housing. So my point of view is I've been pushing to get the residential done for years. And we've had so many people in our community pushing for that. But we also had to take a pause and realize we needed to do one thing at a time. We did have folks that were developers who came to us as a board for the boulevard and said, hey, I want to build apartments, but you don't allow it for right now. But are you going to in your zoning? And we discussed with the zoning review committee, with the developers, the plans. They at that point decided, based on that and no wastewater at the moment, to put off their plans to buy the parcel. So we didn't fast track things or do things on their behalf, knowing that it was a major multi-million-dollar project. So I'm super excited where we are on that process to move forward to residential and ag. And I do think, I guess the timing is unfortunate for the applicant, but at the same time, this has been a process that we're all going through and we respect a lot. So, I look forward to it next year, so.
Anyone else? As I mentioned, I asked Warren to prepare a resolution. And I think it'd probably be appropriate to read the resolution.
Okay,
Tilly, can you? do that?
sure. Resolution discontinuing the application of John King and Kristen King for an amendment to section 180-14, the agricultural district, and section 180-40, country inns, and the addition of section 180-41, special permit for weddings and events of the town code without prejudice to the town board's future consideration of the proposed amendments. Whereas John King and Kristen King, the Kings, are owners of a 36-acre parcel of land located at Old Route 22 and Smithfield Road, County Road 5 in the town of Northeast, which property is located in the town's agricultural district, A5A. And whereas on or about March 26, 2025, the Kings submitted a petition to the town board pursuant to section 265(2) of the New York State Town Law, seeking an amendment to section 180-24 agricultural district and section 180-40 country inns, and the addition of section 180-41 special use permit for weddings and events of the town zoning code. And whereas the petition consisted in part of a cover letter dated March 26, 2025, from Mackey, Butts and Whalen LLC, attorneys for the petitioners, a full environmental assessment form, part 1, and the text of the proposed zoning amendments. And whereas the town board is in the process of considering adoption of certain amendments to the current zoning code as proposed by a study and report conducted by the town's zoning revision committee, which in the main involve changes to the zoning provisions regulating uses in the town's commercial boulevard districts, together with certain other amendments to current town zoning code. And whereas these revisions will be followed by the zoning revision committee's study of possible further amendments to the town zoning code, which will have as their main focus amendments to the code's regulations of uses in the town's residential and agricultural zones. And whereas the town board, by resolution dated July 10th, 2025, accepted the petition of the Kings and commenced the consideration of the petition by referring the same to the attorney to the town's consultant planner, the Town of Northeast Planning Board, and the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for their preliminary comments on the proposed zoning amendments. And whereas the said resolution stated in relevant part that quote, the town board accepts this application with the understanding that the rezoning constitutes a legislative action and the town board reserves its right to reject the rezoning proposal at any time during the rezoning process in its sound discretion, unquote. And whereas the town board reviewed and discussed the application at several public meetings at which the Kings and or their attorneys were present, and whereas the town's consulting planner, Nan Stolzenberg of Community Planning and Environmental Associates, reviewed the proposed zoning amendments, part 1 of the full EAF, a map showing parcels that would be affected by the zoning amendment, as well as the town's comprehensive plan, its existing zoning code, the 10-mile watershed management plan, the Dutchess County Agricultural Protection Plan, the Town of Northeast Agricultural and Farmland Protection Plan, Dutchess County Natural Resource Inventory, New York State Ag District Map, and the New York State DEC Hudson Valley Resource Map, and raised several concerns about the proposed amendments in a memorandum dated August 16, 2025. And whereas the said memorandum raised concerns regarding the impact of the proposed amendments on the possible resulting development on Old Route 22, the introduction of a commercial use into residential and agricultural neighborhoods, impacts on traffic volumes on Old Route 22, and the potential change in the type of traffic along Old Route 22 as a result of additional motor vehicle and truck traffic servicing the potential developments pursuant to said zoning amendments. And whereas in response to these comments, the applicants on August 15, 2025 prepared and submitted a revised proposed local law to establish a tie between the country inns and special event use and agriculture proposed by the zoning amendments. And whereas the revised plans were forwarded to the town's consulting planner, who reviewed the revised plans and submitted a memorandum dated September 5th, 2025 to the town board, which concluded in relevant part that in her opinion, the revisions to the law did not affect the potential impacts related to traffic, noise, and change in the road, community, neighborhood, community character. And whereas the proposed amendment was referred to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for its preliminary review, and Dutchess County Planning, in a response dated August 18, 2025, raised certain questions concerning the text of the zoning law and specifically noted that the amendment broadens the definition of country inns to allow new construction as well as the use of existing structures for event venues and country inns. And whereas the town's Conservation Advisory Council, in a letter dated September 5th, 2025, raised several concerns about the proposed amendments to the code and opined that the rezoning to allow event venues is likely to result in environmental degradation locally and in the region, and more appropriate zoning to accommodate the proposed uses should be created by the town's consultants through overlays and other avenues that enable the goals of the town's comprehensive plan. And whereas, although the town has not to date held a public hearing on the proposed amendment, it has received comments from members of the town's zoning review committee that the town board's enactment of these standalone amendments to the town zoning code would more appropriately be woven into the town's second phase of the rezoning process, which the town board intends to commence in early 2026. And whereas the town board is mindful of the New York State decisional law prohibitions on spot zoning, which prohibits zoning amendments to benefit an individual property owner rather than being part of a comprehensive plan designed to serve the general welfare of the community, and further, that to avoid a legislative act which constitutes spot zoning, any zoning amendment should be 1, consistent with the municipality's comprehensive plan, 2, compatible with surrounding uses, 3, avoid harm to surrounding properties, and 4, take into account the availability and suitability of other parcels for proposed use, as well as the recommendation of the town's professional planning staff. See Citizens for Responsible Zoning versus Common Council of the City of Albany in 2008. Now therefore, in consideration of all of the above, the town board hereby determines to discontinue the review of the King's proposed amendment to the zoning code without prejudice to future consideration of these amendments in conjunction with the town's second phase of its comprehensive amendments to the code proposed and recommended by the town's zoning review committee in 2026.
Thank you, Tilly.
Mhm.
Okay, with that, is there any further discussion by the board on this resolution? Could I, if there is none, could I ask for a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second,
I think we'll conduct a roll call on this.
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Why?
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
All right. We will now move on to I think we are not going to do number 15.
We gotta go back to 12.
I know, I'm just making
Okay.
a note. We're gonna defer number 15, which is consideration of zoning amendments. Warren is going to head back in a few minutes. And we will hold we'll have a special meeting. We will find a way of focusing on to complete the rezoning of the commercial districts of the town. We spend a lot of time on zoning these days.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna change.
We're ready to put the finishing touches on that.
Yeah. I will get back to you on that. I think with that, Warren, if you need to get back, you're excused. And I would.
Good night.
Thanks, Lauren.
The next item on the agenda is a motion to reappoint Liz Barrett to the Board of Assessment Review. Liz was completing her first term. Actually, I think she was appointed to a vacancy. And so she has completed the portion of a term that she was appointed to. And she has indicated she's willing to be reappointed. With that, could I ask for a motion to approve the reappointment of Liz Barrett to the Board of Assessment Review?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the approval of an IMA with the Village of Milton for overnight storage of police vehicles. The police department of the village has received, now has two new police vehicles that they got as with the proceeds of the insurance for the fire. And they do not, because of the condition of the old water department, have a place to park them overnight. They have asked whether we could, whether we would permit them to be stored up at the highway garage. And I've asked Warren to approve it, to craft an IMA with the Village of Milton. For that they could be parked up at the highway garage, subject to the direction and approval of our highway superintendent. And with that, I would like to, unless there's any discussion of that, I'd like to ask for approval of the IMA with the village for the overnight storage of the vehicles.
So moved.
Second. He put a roll call on this, so.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. We're getting good at it.
Okay, Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison. Aye. Councilwoman Winkler.
Okay. The next item actually does refer back to the Water District Benefit Assessment Role. Is a motion to authorize the list of properties in the town of Northeast with unpaid water bills to be sent to Dutchess County. For those of you who are not aware of this, if you are in the water district in the town and you don't pay your water bill, that gets eventually sent to the county. You pay a fine on top of that. And then the county actually adds that to your property tax the following year. So anybody who's ever asked about it, I say it is actually really in your interest to pay the water bill. But at this point, I would entertain a motion to authorize the list of properties in the town with unpaid water bills to be sent to Dutchess County. Could I ask for motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Lana, seconded by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
We have another item that concerns the new highway garage. From the first time that it was built, it was our intent to consider the possibility of putting solar collectors on the roof of the highway garage. The garage was constructed specifically to accommodate solar panels, and the electrical services up there were designed to accommodate future solar array. We have been talking to a company called Municipal Solar Partners, a nonprofit, which has funding which will permit them to do a feasibility study of putting solar collectors on the highway garage at no cost to the town. The town's Climate Smart Community Task Force actually did some research on finding out who out there was doing this. They have worked in Rhinebeck and Red Hook and come highly recommended. I have talked to them. They are eager to get going. As I said, this is a feasibility study. That's the next step. It does not commit the town to do anything further after that. We can, if we decide we now know everything we want to know and don't want to go any further, we don't have to. But if we do want to go further and actually have it, the design, they would be able to do that, but it would be put out to bid and they would have to bid like anybody else. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution to approve a contract with Municipal Solar Partners for the feasibility of solar panels on the highway garage.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Um,
Did they give us a time frame estimate?
there, I think, want to meet with, go up to the garage it was either today or tomorrow, but
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. They're gonna move right along.
Great.
And I think that'll be great. I think we'll have something to bring back to the board at our next meeting. Okay,
Did we vote? Yeah. Did we vote?
Chris made the motion to approve the contract and I think Ralph
Mhm.
seconded it.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want a roll call on that? I think we're good on that one.
Mhm.
Lastly, we have a contract with the Northeast Community Center. We renew it every year. We, hang on a second. The town has, for a number of years, has contributed $5,500 to the operation of the Northeast Community Center. It has not changed in quite a while. We haven't received any requests from the community center for that to change. But, we do have a contract with them. And the town has been very happy to, to help support the community center. I think they do an enormous amount of good in this town. And therefore, I would like to ask for a motion to approve me signing the contract with the community center.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. With that, I think we've gotten through everything. As I said, we're not going to do anything with the future zoning. Have I missed anything?
Mhm.
Okay. With that, public comment. Anyone who has any public comment is welcome to. Mr. King?
Obviously, I heard the resolution. It's read. I'm highly concerned because I don't think it was appropriately drafted. We had submitted two separate amendments. And the way that Warren had drafted that is he merged the two together. Every single note that was referenced in that resolution spoke to wedding events. Not a single one of those comments actually spoke to the modification of country inns. So I think it was very inappropriate that they were merged and not treated independently, because if it's about traffic, if it's about noise, if it's about all of those things, that all lines up to weddings. That doesn't line up to 24 units for a country inn. Traffic on Route 22. 24 cars, that doesn't line up to a country inn, that lines up to wedding events. So I think it's very inappropriate that they were blended together and voted on together and not teased apart, because the outcome may have been dramatically different had they been separated and treated independently as they were drafted and as they were written and as they are submitted. Additionally, it was referenced that they were subject to spot zoning because I brought them forward, and because I'm the only one that has come forward to present them, and then others haven't come forward and said, hey, we want to open a country and hey, we want to do this. And that's the entire point of having a public hearing, which I was denied. So again, I think that was terribly inappropriate that it was just outright dismissed without considering it independently, having a public hearing for country inns, which was the minor modification that we were looking to make, and would have been potentially received a different outcome from the board if it was considered independently. So I think that was, and again, everything was drafted as so that it wouldn't be subject to spot zoning. But again, that's why it goes in front of the planning board to then evaluate my property individually. Current Country Inn isn't considered spot zoning, it's already there on the books. So I find it, just absolutely inappropriate that they were blended and merged together and treated as one.
Mr. Gish,
I know, I wasn't gonna say anything, but now I have to. The way that this petition was brought forth as as Mr. King just said, a minor tweak to existing zoning is kind of analogous to if I said to you, well, we allow automobile dealerships on the Boulevard District. I would like to make a minor change and just say that the dealership has sales, it has service, and automobile manufacture. You can make a very minor change and have a huge impact. And that's the reason why you don't change zoning as picking up the language that exists and modifying it to suit a particular need. You write zoning to meet the needs of the community. And then at that point, as Mr. King said, you bring that forward to the planning board or the zoning board of appeals right now, as the case may be, for a special permit. And that work moves forward in that way. But I think you made the right decision in deciding to consider this in the context of the overall zoning and not trying to take the language that was created basically to save historic structures back in the 1980s and trying to change it to support this completely different new use. And, you know, as I said at the beginning, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let this go, but I think someone has to go on the record because the newspaper's going to print something, and you know, there needs to be somebody saying, no, you did the right thing, did the right thing. So thank you.
I think Mr. Kish was my point, which was. I
Mr.
was asking
King?
that they be treated independently.
thank you. Anyone else have public comment? Yes, sir.
Something that was not on tonight's agenda. My name is Jim Cole. I live on State Home Road. But something we would like to reintroduce to the record is our concern about that traffic condition on State Line Road, speeding and the trucks going through. One thing that's come to my attention is that about a year ago, a yellow cautionary sign was placed. One was placed at both ends of State Line Road, cautioning drivers to slow down at 30 miles an hour if they saw pedestrians. One of those signs is missing. I'm not sure what happened.
It may have been hit by a car. The highway department has been notified and it's going to be replaced.
I'd like to make a comment related to the speeding. Last Saturday afternoon, we experienced at least a dozen race cars, same make, at excessive speeds on State Line Road, one after the other. This is not an uncommon experience in the summer. This happened, as I said, last Saturday. I called Wine Rock Park Raceway. They called me back on Monday, said that they had some event where they rent out the space to car clubs. I reiterated my request that they let their guests know that there are issues in the local community with speeding, and to please respect the speed limit, respect that folks live on these roads. This is not, Disneyland for race enthusiasts. It's really upsetting, and I called the county sheriff and asked him to please, do what they can to catch these folks before someone gets killed. This continues to be a serious problem for us.
Anyone else? Yes.
Rich Stalzer, thank you for considering solar on the brush. I think that it's a great site for it. And I know preparations were made and it seemed like nothing was happening for a long time, so I'm horrible to hear that it's back. The plans.
I'm looking forward to hearing what can be done there. Anyone else? With that. On the agenda, it says approval of minutes. As Tilly has mentioned, the minutes have just been delivered to the board. We haven't had time to look through them. They will be considered at our next board meeting. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Turn it off.
I'm gonna try and turn this off.
I heard.
Did you possibly think of the date? It must have also to election.